Imagine a time when the Indian Ocean wasn't a barrier, but a bustling highway connecting continents. Long before Europeans rounded the Cape of Good Hope, a vibrant network of trade routes crisscrossed these waters, and at its heart lay a string of glittering city-states along the East African coast. This is the story of the Swahili coast, a world built on monsoon winds, powered by commerce, and rich in a culture that blended Africa with the East. Let's set sail back in time to explore this forgotten golden age. Between the 10th and 15th centuries, while much of Europe was in the Middle Ages, cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar were rising as powerful commercial hubs. What made this remote coastline so central to global trade? The secret was in the wind. The Indian Ocean is governed by a remarkable natural engine, the monsoon winds. For half the year, from November to February, the winds blow reliably from the northeast, pushing ships from Arabia, Persia, and India towards Africa. Then, from April to September, the winds reverse, blowing from the southwest, providing a perfect return journey home. Ancient sailors harnessed this predictable weather pattern with their ingenious vessels, the dhows. These ships, with their distinctive triangular lateen sails, were perfectly designed to catch the monsoon winds, allowing them to travel vast distances with remarkable efficiency. An Arab merchant could leave port in Oman, sail down the African coast to trade, and be confident he could make it home within a year. This reliable, cyclical system of winds created a predictable rhythm of trade that lasted for centuries, turning the Indian Ocean into a cohesive economic and cultural zone. So, what were these merchants sailing thousands of miles to trade? From the African interior came immense wealth. Gold, sourced from the great mines of Zimbabwe, was one of the most sought-after commodities. Ivory, prized for its use in carving and ornamentation in markets from China to Europe, was another major export. And let's not forget more exotic goods like mangrove poles for construction, animal skins, and even slaves, tragically. One of the most important trading posts was the city of Kilwa, located in modern-day Tanzania. Its strategic position made it the southernmost point that merchants from India could reach and return from in a single monsoon season. This allowed Kilwa to control the flow of gold from the south, making it fabulously wealthy. The famous traveller Ibn Battuta visited in the 14th century and described it as one of the most beautiful cities he had ever seen. In return for these African resources, ships arrived laden with goods from across Asia. From India came vibrant cotton textiles, colourful beads, and spices. From the kilns of China, elegant porcelain and silk made their way into the homes of Swahili elites. Archaeologists digging along the coast today find heaps of broken Chinese pottery, a testament to just how extensive and commonplace this trade was. This wasn't just a simple exchange of raw materials for finished goods. It was a complex global market where each region supplied what the other desired, creating a web of interdependence that enriched everyone involved. This constant interaction of people and ideas gave birth to something truly unique, the Swahili culture. The word Swahili itself comes from the Arabic word sahil, meaning coast. It perfectly describes a people and a culture born of the coast. The foundation was Bantu-speaking African peoples, but over centuries, Arab, Persian, and Indian merchants settled, intermarried, and blended into the local population. This fusion is most evident in the Swahili language. While its grammatical structure is fundamentally Bantu, its vocabulary is heavily enriched with words from Arabic. It became the lingua franca of the coast, the language of trade and diplomacy that united these diverse city-states. This cultural synthesis wasn't just linguistic, it was visible in the very fabric of the cities. The ruling classes and wealthy merchants embraced Islam, which had arrived with Arab traders. This new religion became a unifying force, connecting the Swahili coast to the wider Islamic world, known as the Dar al-Islam. With this new faith came new styles of architecture. Grand mosques and palaces were constructed not from mud and wood, but from coral stone. Workers would harvest living coral from the sea, burn it to create lime for mortar, and build multi-story structures that were both durable and beautiful. The ruins of these buildings, with their intricate carved doorways and courtyards, can still be seen today in places like Gedi in Kenya or the stone town of Zanzibar, whispering tales of a prosperous past. Life in these city-states was cosmopolitan. A walk through the narrow streets of 14th century Mombasa would have been a feast for the senses. You'd hear the cadences of Swahili mixed with Arabic and Gujarati. You'd see people dressed in local African cloth alongside others in fine Indian cotton and silk. The markets would be overflowing with local produce, exotic spices, and handcrafted goods. The elite lived in stone houses, ate off Chinese porcelain, and practiced a faith that connected them to Mecca. It was a world that was distinctly African, yet also undeniably international. Each city-state was an independent kingdom, often ruled by a sultan, and they frequently competed with each other for control of trade routes, sometimes fiercely. But they were all bound together by this shared Swahili culture, language, and commercial interest. For nearly 500 years, this Swahili golden age flourished. But at the very end of the 15th century, a new and disruptive force appeared on the horizon. In 1498, the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama successfully navigated around the Cape of Good Hope and sailed into the Indian Ocean. The Portuguese were not interested in joining the existing trade network. They wanted to control it. Their ships were armed with cannons, a technology that gave them a decisive military advantage over the dhows. They saw the wealthy Swahili cities not as partners, but as obstacles to their ambition of creating a trading monopoly. What followed was a period of violence and disruption. The Portuguese attacked and sacked many of the major city-states, including Kilwa and Mombasa. They sought to divert the flow of gold and other valuable goods directly to their own ships, bypassing the Swahili middlemen. They built imposing fortresses, like Fort Jesus in Mombasa, to enforce their dominance. While the Swahili city-states did not disappear overnight, their power was broken. The old, relatively peaceful system of monsoon trade was replaced by a new, more militarized era of European maritime control. The focus of global trade began to shift away from the Indian Ocean towards the Atlantic. The great coral stone cities fell into decline, and the golden age of the Swahili coast came to an end. However, the legacy of this incredible period lives on. Swahili culture and language did not vanish. In fact, today, Swahili is one of the most widely spoken languages in Africa, a testament to its enduring power to connect people. The architectural ruins remind us of a time of great wealth and cross-cultural exchange. The story of the Swahili city-states is a powerful reminder that Africa has always been a central player in global history, a continent of innovation, commerce, and complex societies long before the arrival of Europeans. It's a chapter of history that deserves to be remembered and celebrated. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into forgotten history. Let me know in the comments which historical topic you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.